Hello, welcome to the kickoff for the third module in this trends course. Following the gamification and the digital content topics, we are going to look at finding the buy button in people's brain, or most commonly referred to as neuromarketing. And uh, from there, we will start looking at how neuromarketing is impacting the customer, and we will particularly start to look at that in the context of retail, how neuromarketing is impacting customer decisions in retail, and as such, what is it that companies do to hit that buy button. For this week, the focus will be on neuromarketing. I have posted on Blackboard two links to videos for you to look at. One is around neuromarketing, and one is particularly around the research that is done through neuromarketing and the application of that in retail. When you will look at the first video, the TED Talk around what neuromarketing is and how it can be used in advertisement, it talks about finding this buy button that I just referred to. And just to quickly give you a brief primer, it will give you a definition about neuromarketing, but more particularly the application of what it is that marketeers do to hit that buy button. One of the things that it will explain quite clearly is that there's no such thing as the brain. Amongst others, the brain is broken into three areas. It's divided into three areas that are, if you will, constantly competing with each other. There is the new brain, which is irrational, where you make your intelligent decisions. There's the middle brain, where a lot of the emotional decisions and responses that you have are triggered. And there is the reptilian brain, where a lot of your instincts, your instinctual decisions are taken. And one of the key elements in neuromarketing is that if there is a battle between your rational self, the conscious decisions that you take, and your instincts, your reptilian brain, then eventually the reptilian brain wins. And as such, that is something that is important for marketeers to know. So one of the things that you want to do as a marketeer is see if you can tap into that reptilian brain, provoke that battle, and get people to, for instance, respond to what often is referred to that guilty pleasure, something they know they shouldn't be buying, something they know they might in a way regret, but it's pretty nice to buy it and to consume it. So that is one of those things that you try to tap into as a marketeer. So from that, explaining what that brain is, and in that video it will be explained to you in quite a bit more detail and illustrated with quite a few examples, we can take it to marketing. What does it tell us? When we do research, we try to understand the wants, the needs, and the demands of consumers. But already, as Henry Ford said, the founder of the Ford Motor Company, if you ask people what they want, they're not necessarily really telling you what they may need. So when you are asked traditional research questions, you will probably tell the things that your intellectual self, your conscious brain tells you is the advisable answer, and you know you should do in a certain situation. While often what we feel is what actually drives what we do, and that is often triggered by the reptilian brain, as you will learn as you start to watch these two videos. Now that we start to understand more and more about the brain, because neuromarketing is still a relatively new field, a lot of progress has been made over the last 10-15 years. It has uncovered various new ways of researching rather than the traditional ways of researching this annoying 6 o'clock phone call that you get from a person asking you a couple of questions, or a student coming to you in the shopping street asking with a clipboard if they can ask you several questions. Now in neuromarketing, there's different ways to determine what it is you feel and how your brain is triggering you to respond, rather than just the things that you say following a deliberate thinking process. Heat maps is just one of the ways. So what is it that people actually look at, and how is that impacting their decision? And through that kind of research, we have, for instance, seen that if you take this ad, the things that we look at are the model and the text, but we're ignoring the product. So when I've seen this ad and then I am in the supermarket or in the drugstore, chances are that I'm not recognizing this product from this ad. So a very subtle change that you can make, and that has been manifested through the various research methods in neuromarketing, is if you just change the way this model looks, it triggers you to look at what that model is looking at, which will enhance the chances that you will actually recognize this product, and as such are more easily triggered into buying this product. Another example is this ad, where this cute little baby will probably draw most of the attention, as you can see through this heat map. The red is where the people most look at, while some of the important information that this company wants you to know about gets looked at, but significantly less. So a way to change that, to influence us to look at what we find the relevant information in the ad as advertisers, is by having the baby look at it. It will trigger that we will start to look at that information that, if you will, that baby is looking at, and as such making this ad far more effective. So these are just two very simple examples of things that we have been able to uncover through, in this case, eye tracking. As I said, the two videos that I will make available to you will give you a lot more backgrounds to what this research can do for you. One of the things that it will learn is that there are 6 main stimuli, 6 main things that as marketeers we can appeal to by talking to predominantly your reptilian brain, but also the other parts of your brain. And that will be explained in a lot more detail, how these things can be used, this knowledge can be used as marketeer. And from there, what it is you can do in designing your marketing activities. Diagnose the pain, differentiate your claim, demonstrate the gain, why, what value is it that your product has to offer, and deliver that to the reptilian brain. Because as I said earlier, if there's a conflict between your intellectual self, your intelligent self, and your reptilian brain, chances are that your reptilian brain will win. So you want to appeal to that in your delivery of your marketing activities. And as I said, you will see quite a few examples in that video. So a lot of information that you will learn from that, but there's a lot more to learn. So what I want you to do in your groups is start to research this field more. Use this video as an inspiration, but certainly not as the only piece of input into what neuromarketing is. Let it provoke you, let it make you curious, and learn more about neuromarketing and how it is that we can actually hit that buy button. And from there, what I want you to do in terms of the assignment for next week's class is have a discussion around those 2 videos in your team and the further research that you do, and come up with what I call a burning question. What is it specifically in the field of neuromarketing that you would like to know more about? Or what is a question that is really provoking your thoughts? And take that burning question and go do research to find the answer to that question. So do the analysis, find answers to that burning question, and articulate that answer in a presentation that you and your team will do during next week's class. And from finding that answer the question, so what? Why is this relevant to marketeers? Topics to think about are in the field of ethics, how do colors impact? How are different types of communication being impacted by neuromarketing? What is the impact of the digital elements that are at your disposal? And make sure that you draw your inspiration from some of the things that you've already learned in the modules around gamification and digital. So what I eventually want you and your team to do is be prepared to do a 10-minute presentation around this burning question. Properly introduce it and then share with me and your fellow classmates the research that you've done and the answers that you have found to that burning question. And have the underlying data, the information that you have found, the motivation to some of the things that you will be presenting, have that available as a handout in class, and limit yourself to 1 or 2 pages. Don't come with 10 pages of handouts. Really have it be a fact sheet, a handout that supports some of the things that you will be presenting, that people can look at if they want to understand better, want to know what are your sources, what are the articles that you've seen, what is some of the key data that you have found that makes you come to the conclusions that you will present during class. So to summarize, watch the 2 videos, the links that I will make available on Blackboard. Prepare the presentations in Teams. The Teams I will also make available on Blackboard. Bring those handouts, those 1 to 2 pages handouts to the next class, and make sure that you have at least 30 copies available to be handed out during the class. Like I said, Teams will be announced on Blackboard, and use the time that is scheduled for the workshop this week to work in the teams that you have been assigned to start working on this assignment. Do the research, start preparing your presentation so that you already have a significant amount of the work done by the end of the class on Thursday. And copies of this sheet, and as such also the instruction for the assignment, I'll make available on Blackboard. And if in the meantime you have any questions, don't hesitate to email, send me an email, and I will try to answer as quickly as I can. So that wraps it up. Thank you very much. Good luck with the assignment, and looking forward to seeing you next week.